So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you all three of the Hemiblabera species of cockroach that are currently in the hobby. But really quick, before we begin, please go down below and click the like and subscribe button. It helps me out a lot and gives me a reason to keep making these awesome quality roach videos. But without further ado, we'll jump right into the video. So for the first species of Hemiblabera for this video, right here we have Hemiblabera tenebricosa, and these are from Monroe County, Florida. And these recently entered the hobby around circa 2022, if I'm correct. And these guys are a very beautiful species within the Hemiblabera genus. In this little container, I have a mix of a nymph, a few males, and a few females to show off to you guys today. This species is very, has some beautiful coloration. Then they have these nice, bright reds with them and the blacks. They're kind of striped in a way, and even the nymphs are quite beautiful in my opinion. So as I said, these guys entered the hobby around 2022, and they were collected with some well-known faces of the cockroach community, and they have since then been introduced into the hobby around 2023 to the public for sale. And I got these guys over the summer, and these guys have been doing rather great for me. They've been quite easy to rear up to maturity, but I have not yet seen any nymphs been produced yet, but I have seen lots of courtship and even mating behavior, so it's kind of just a waiting game currently. And one thing I love about the Hemiblabera species is their vestigial wings, their sexual dimorphism as adults. So right here, here is a female on the left, and then a male on the right. You can see how the males kind of have circular vestigial wings, or more square-like in roundness, and then females kind of have a curved look to them, kind of like a wing, as you would assume. Here's another female with that curve to their vestigial wings. I just really like how colorful this species is. I mean, they're just stunning, and a lot of these Hemiblabera species are just very nice and just a nice charismatic roach to keep. And they're also a relatively large cockroach in my opinion. Not as large as some of the other ones you'll see later in the video, but I mean, they're a pretty good size for a blabberid roach. And you can kind of see how sometimes they'll kind of flare up their vestigial wings, and they can try to use them to flutter, but it does them no good. And now with my macro lens, you can see them even a lot more clear and how really unique they are of a roach in my opinion. And it seems like these females, they're a lot more bright in color than the males. They have these nice bold red colors, and then when you look at a male, they're kind of more blackened in color, but that could just be the specific individual. So here's a male and female pair. They're kind of stacked on top of each other right now, which is pretty funny looking. And it also seems that on their pronotum, they have that kind of white mark going across there. But yeah, these roaches are very interesting and cool. Hopefully here soon I will see these guys produce some nymphs for me. I can see my colony do really well. And so far, keeping all three of the Hemiblabera species, they all seem relatively easy when it comes to care and breeding them. So I'm just waiting on this species to breed, but again, it's just more of a time will tell thing. But with that, let's move on to the next species of Hemiblabera for this video. So now for our next Hemiblabera species of this video, right here we have Hemiblabera granulata. And this specific locality of them originates from Guadeloupe. And these guys are definitely one of the more unique species in this genus. Now, with obviously in the hobby currently there's only 3 species being kept, but out of the 3, this one's definitely one of the more of the oddball and is much more unique in morphology and even care in some aspects, in my personal opinion. Now, out of the 3 species that I have, these guys are probably one of my favorites. If not, it'd be Hemiblabera tenebricosa, the one I showed prior to this. And this species dons its granulata Latin species name because of the granulated texture it has on its exoskeleton. But same story as Hemiblabera tenebricosa. These guys have not reproduced for me yet, but I have seen a good amount of courtship and even mating being shown in their enclosure. So it's just a waiting game once again with this species. Here's a better close-up with them with my macro lens, and this species is just very cool. And you can kind of see where they get their Latin name, as I said. You can kind of see lots of little micro bumps running across them. It can be a little challenging to see at times, but right there you can see it pretty well on them. And these guys, you sex them the same way, how males are a lot smaller in size compared to the large females, and the males have a more squared off pronotum, with the females having more of that cut edge going slightly down. But I can't get over how awesome this species morphology is and just how they look in general. I mean, they're just awesome. And these guys also remain to be the smallest Hemiblabera out of the three species. Not by too much, but these guys are definitely a lot more visually smaller when seen in person. If we can pick up this male right here, you can kind of see these guys, I would say, are definitely quite a lot smaller. Here's one on my pinky finger, but still a pretty decent size for a blabberid roach. We'll put him back down here. Here's what the females look like. It seems like the females are pretty much the male size of Hemiblabera tenebricosa, so quite a shift in size difference when compared to those two. Currently, I'm keeping these guys in around a 15-quart sized bin. I keep all of my Hemiblabera species in around 3 to 4 inches of substrate, and I keep them basically mostly dry for the most part, but as I said, I keep this species a bit more humid, so I keep them kind of 50-50 with 2 corners being moist, whereas to Hemiblabera tenebricosa, I only keep 1 corner moist. But I think Hemiblabera are pretty well known for being able to tolerate a pretty wide range of ventilation and humidity. Well, we'll leave these guys alone and move on to the final species of Hemiblabera in my collection. So right here we have Hemiblabera CF roseni, and this locality comes from the country of Cuba. This species is very variable in their color, as you can see right here. There's lots of different shades. You can see some of these larger ones where they're more reddish and black, but then some where they're a bright orange with yellow, or some with that maroon color as well. Now this Hemiblabera species is not a new addition to the hobby, and has been in the hobby for quite a long time now, probably 12 plus years if I'm not mistaken. And for the longest time, these guys were actually labeled Hemiblabera tenebricosa in the United States and a few other places. And in Europe and stuff, they were labeled Hemiblabera bruneri, which to this day have not made it into the hobby yet, but hopefully they will here in the next few years. But back to what I was saying was these guys were mislabeled as Hemiblabera tenebricosa for years, many years, until in 2022 when those hobbyists found them in Florida, and hopefully they were correctly ID'd from there. There's still some skepticals going on about that, and I'm not going to ramble about the whole taxonomical debate on Hemiblabera and if they're the right species and etc. So I will leave TJ's taxonomical blog post down below in the description and comments if you're interested in reading that. But just for this video, I'm just going to be showcasing them for you guys. And I got these guys around June or July of last year in 2024. And these guys have been breeding relatively rapidly for me. It is definitely the easier out of the 3 species to culture. And I have tons of young nymphs running around the enclosure, which I'll show on screen right now. But yeah, these guys have been doing great for me, producing really well. I still personally feel that Hemiblabera species are very underrated in the hobby to this day, and wish I see more people keeping them, even the more common CF roseni that I'm showing currently. And out of the 3 species, this one is definitely the largest. You can see this really massive female right here, which have probably packed out some large broods in her lifetime for me. And I probably have a few hundred of these by now. This is just a few of the more colorful ones out of my culture, just to show you guys. And these guys are a pretty protein hungry roach species as well, and they also love their fruits a lot. Definitely a lot more than the other 2 species I've noticed. So yeah, I hope these guys continue reproducing very well for me for the coming years. But yeah, with that, that's all I have for today's video, everyone. If you have not yet, please go down below and click the like and subscribe button. It helps me out a lot. It gives me a pretty good reason to keep making these awesome roach related videos. With that, I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.